Hi there. Thanks a lot for staying with us here on Prime Morning, and I want to believe you're doing pretty well this morning. It's Newsflash. It's proudly brought to you by Franco Trading Enterprise. Still, phones Papa Path here. This morning we're entreating you to go for the best of quality when it comes to gadgets, and Franco Trading Enterprise is giving you even more than that. All you need to do is to walk into our branches and buy from us. We've got television sets we're selling, of course, refrigerators, air conditioning, CCTV cameras. We have phones that comes in Nokia, Samsung, iPhones, and we're giving you a 40% discount on any accessory you buy from us. And that's what Franco Trading Enterprise is all about. Make sure that you walk into our branches, and also please do well to call the numbers you see on your screens. We remind you again that do not call any number you pick on social media. Make sure you're calling the number that you see on your screens and ask any question you want to ask us. We'll definitely be there to take care of you. Franco Trading Enterprise still phones Papa Path here. You can also download the app. It's the Franco Trading app on Google Play Store. Our website is www.francotrading.com, and you can check out our branches and make all the inquiries you can make once you're able to download the app, and also go on our website. Franco Trading Enterprise says still phones Papa Path here. And this morning we're elated to come your way once again, and we'll be delving into the newspapers, the front pages, what has been reported, and then we'll get into our substantive issues that we are looking at here on the show today. Make sure you go on our Facebook page. We're streaming live. You can drop your messages over there. You can also send your WhatsApp messages to us on our WhatsApp line and share your thought with us this morning here on the show. Now, yesterday, the rains came and the Kotoka International Airport had issues in terms of electricity. Now, there was light off and some passengers were stranded a bit. We're going to be looking at moving forward what we can do to make things of this nature not happen. And my guest in the studio will be sharing their thought briefly on that. But our major issues we're looking at this morning, there has been petition that has been sent to the president to remove the CJ. And this issue came up when the former president was in charge, and he said that they didn't have the merit to actually remove the CJ, and we're talking about the Chief Justice, Justice Her Ladyship Tokonu. And then another petition came up again, and there have been 3 others that have come up. Now, the president has actually sent the Council of State to have a committee put together to ensure they go through the process of looking at what exactly these petitions are, and if indeed it merits any way of removing the CJ, then we can have that conversation. Now we'll be looking at that issue here on the show this morning, and also about 1,300 containers that belong to the ECG has been missing at the ports. We're going to find out what exactly happened. Where are they? How did they get missing? Now, the Energy Minister, Honorable Jnr, has been speaking on the issue yesterday on News Nights, and also the former Deputy Minister for Energy also spoke about it as well, and he said that they're ready to help with investigations into that issue. He's also the ranking member in charge of energy at the Parliament Committee, and he says that he's fully in support of any investigation that will go into that issue, and he will be ready to actually assist in any investigation that will come out of that. We'll be looking at that issue also here. Now, the amount of money, if you put all of that together, that the country will be losing if we're not able to find this container, would blow your mind, and we'll take a look at that here on the show. But let me quickly introduce my guest in the studio this morning, and I've been joined by my brother, Mr. Richard Suma. He's here with us this morning, and he's a family here already. He's a leading member of the Movement for Change.
Yeah.
Rich.
Yes, sir.
I hope you're good.
By grace. By grace, all is fine.
You slept well?
Yes.
Or the rains didn't make you sleep
well?
No,
we slept well. It makes the weather a little bit chilly, so it's good for sleep.
It was important that we had that weather.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the havoc that it caused at the ANC is the one that we are a bit saddened.
Yes.
When when the rains came, usually come to, we have lights out also coming in.
Yes.
Yesterday I slept in darkness by
that's sorry. Quite unfortunate.
I had darkness too.
Yes. Which is sometimes a bit of a dent on our international integrity, because in every civilized airport like Accra International, Kotoka International Airport, there should be an alternative power arrangement that regardless of what happened, we shouldn't go blackout and passengers shouldn't be stranded because our main power supply is off. There should always be a proactive means of mitigating some of these things, because flights are moving based on schedule, based on time. So if check-in delays, obviously departure time delays, and in our first arrival, and almost everything is get congested.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Anyway, it's unfortunate, but we'll see what moving forward some of these things come done about some of these things so that we don't end up experiencing them. But let's look at the front pages of the newspapers. We're still waiting 2 other guests that will be joining us this morning as well. But Ghanaian Times this morning is reporting a few issues on the front page. It says National Education Statistics Report, and it says quality education fluctuates, though access to school increases in past 2 decades. And that's the problem we have with this free SHS. And we must be very blunt about it. You know, you can make a free education a quality education, and you can make it, not too quality of education, and that would depend on the kind of, effort you put into making sure that everything that will make the people get the best of education are put in place. And unfortunately, you have a lot of people having to go to school, but coming out with poor grades and not able to do good for themselves. And that's the problem that we seem to have with this. And that's the report that has come out right now. Access to education is increasing, but then quality education is fluctuating, and we don't want to be seeing things like these. Minister orders probe into 1.5 billion Ghana cedis ECG value containers disappearance, and that's one of the issues that we'll be looking at this morning as well. And it's got the Honorable Mr. Jnr captured over there as well. 3 killed, 3 injured in Binduri, Ghana attack. Youth group calls for curfew, and suit against removal of IGP. Other security agency heads dismissed, and that's the Ghanaian Times speaking on that this morning. You remember that there was, a suit that was supposed to have stopped the removal of the IGP. Now, few days before that, the IGP was removed, and the case has been dismissed right now. And the back page says lack of psychiatrists affecting mental health care in Bono East region. Dr. Apia says so. The 4 institutions sign MOU for competency-based training and recycling technology. That's also captured by the Ghanaian Times this morning. Away from that, the Daily Dispatch is here, and it says that Ghana's inflation is uncomfortably high. Governor of BOG speaks on that, and 1.2 billion US dollars worth of gold left Ghana illegally in 2022. Arthur Forson says so. And the doctors treating Pope Francis at a point considered ending treatment so he could die. And that's one unfortunate story that we have on the front page this morning. You know that the Pope has been going through, very challenging moment right now in terms of his health. And there have been measures put in place to make sure that he's healthy. But unfortunately, it's deteriorating. But we hope that the good Lord will take care of him. Now, the back page says Baumia donates 200,000 Ghana cedis, 10,000 bags of cement to doomed fire victims. And Sam George reviews Airtel Tigo is indebted to the tune of 3.5 billion. Ghana cedis. That's also the back page of the Daily Dispatch. Away from that, the Accra Times is here, and it says that rebuild in trust and hope. Barbing Tax, Speaker of Liberia, and Mercy Heritage and Ministry of Communications, Sam George weeps, and let's drive equity and inclusion in society. That's North Day MP says so. Minority courts, media, CSOs, and to rise up against intimidations. And Jomoro MP advocates for financial literacy for women, and it's got Honorable Dokas Afo Tofe captured over there. Last Ministry embarks on awareness campaign to protect forest and the environment. That's also captured on the front page of the Accra Times. So this morning, you can grab a copy and read about all of that. Now, Punch Africa says MP for Pru West cries for potable water for his people, and Honorable Emmanuel Kofi Ntekuni is actually captured over there as well. AG drags 2 people to court over alarming scandals, and why is Addison and his lawyers quiet on the raid incident? actually questions. And also away from that, Dagbon King wants the name of the Tamale airport changed. Minority cries foul over national security operations, and Zoom Lion sets pace in informal job creation. That's also captured on the front page of the Punch Africa. The last one for me will be the Ghanaian publisher, and it says, persecution won't break our spirit. I think your marking tells President Mahama and Attorney General under fire of a public trial of Dubois. And the Baumia donates 200,000 Ghana cedis and 1,000 bags of cement to Adum fire victims. That's also been captured on the front page of the Ghanaian publisher. Sam George sacks 100 Ghana Post workers. That's also captured on the front page of the Ghanaian Times publisher. I beg your pardon. So most people will still say that the sacking of individuals in various public institutions still continues, but he justified this in the interview that he granted. He says that there's supposed to be some restructuring that is supposed to be done in that sector, and so is the reason why these people have been sacked, and also mentioned some of the misappropriation of funds over there as well. So yeah, that's what it is. But the official statement that was released by the ANC Mall with regards to the solar panel is here. Let me read that for you, for those of you who are a bit concerned about what's going to happen moving forward. Now, they said that we regret to inform you that not too long ago, the solar panel structure in our parking area collapsed due to heavy rain. Thankfully, no injuries were recorded. Our team, along with relevant authorities, is on site to manage the situation and ensure swift resolution. We sincerely apologize for any distress or inconvenience this has caused, and I appreciate your patience as we work to address the situation. Your safety remains our top priority. We will keep the public informed on any updates, ANC development. And that's the press statement that was released yesterday when the incident happened. And so for those of you who are worried about some of the things, that happened over there yesterday, you can be rest assured that they are taking steps to address the situation. Now, let's get into our conversation this morning, and I'll begin with the petition to remove the CJ conversation. And there's a press statement that was released by the presidency. So let me just read that quickly and then I'll go to Richard. It says that President Mahama consults the Council of State on 3 petitions for the removal of the Chief Justice. And it says President Mahama has received 3 petitions from various persons seeking the removal of the Chief Justice. Now the President has forwarded the 3 petitions to the Council of State to commence the consultation process mandated by Article 146 of the 1992 Constitution. And it was signed by Felix Kwesi Ofosu, is the spokesperson to the President and Minister of Government Communications. Let me go to Rich. Rich,
yeah.
There has been precedents that have been set, and many people have made reference to it, that when the issue of the EC Electoral Commissioner came out, a lot of people felt that it was something that was not supposed to have begun in the first place, because it's going to make it easier for us to follow these tangents. And we are here right now with this. A lot of people believe that this CJ was going to be removed in the first place because of change of government. But did you see it coming the way it has panned out? 3 petitions to the president.
Once again, I would like to say good morning to all our charity viewers this morning, and to extend my warm greetings to Honorable Alan Chiromante, the beloved wife, and all the members of the Movement for Change, and a couple of friends, Nana Yadobia Sikapa, the Queen Mother of Akwemu Jekiti, and Belvin, and a couple of friends who constantly follow us wherever we go. Yes, it is not something new to start with. And we live in a country where government go, government comes, and every government is looking at protecting their interests and how they can work effectively and deliver justice to the people. Now, we have all been in this country, and we know that the present Chief Justice was appointed by the previous president, Nana Addo Dankwa. Obviously, there was a petition from Professor Azar, which suggests that due to incompetence and a couple of other things that he suggested as the basis upon which you can remove a Chief Justice, he indicated that there are some what the rudiments of that, or some elements of those things in the behavior and attitude of the present Chief Justice. Therefore, there's a need for her to be removed. Now, obviously, the then sitting president wouldn't have done that, because when you do that, it dents his integrity. Because obviously, he appointed her, so if there are issues of that, you simply don't expect a sitting president to remove someone that he himself has appointed and place her there. In the case of Charlotte Osei, assuming Mahama was in power, there's no petition that will allow him to remove the lady from being the chairperson of the Electoral Commission. But because the government changed hands, it was easier for them to execute that plan. So now, this call isn't out of play. We would have only wished that we know the 3 petitioners. In the case of the one that came earlier on, we know who the petitioner was. Yeah. But in this case, we have actually not been told who the 3 petitioners are. We have just been told that they received some 3 petitions. Therefore, according to the Constitution, Article 146, that suggests that if you want to remove a Chief Justice, you must go through these processes by at least consulting the Council of State, and then the Council of State will form a committee, and the committee will be chaired by a Chief Justice, and then some other 3 people who are not members of the judiciary or the legislature or all these things to look into it. So normally, you see, we live in a country where the moment you see the storm or you see the clouds forming, you should know, obviously, it's going to rain. It's going to rain. You should know the end result. So the moment it has started, you see, NDC is caught between a lot of situations. Like, for instance, this Aura thing. Aura has presented a lot of reports, and there are other cases of corruptions and all these things that they are looking into. And you see, the Chief Justice is the one who constitutes panels as far as sitting of the jury is concerned. So now, if you are going to have a Chief Justice that was appointed by the previous administration, and you are having issues with employees of the former administration, what would you expect? Definitely you will face some constraints, because she's the one who is going to constitute the panel to sit on all those cases. Therefore, the government in power today will do anything within their powers to make sure they have her replaced. Because that is the only way they can have the confidence that most of the cases they present to the court, the chances of them winning those cases are high. If not, they will empanel some judges that were all appointed by the previous administration. And if anything comes, you see, you always defend the master, as is always said in our local parlance. So if issues come and they are not able to look into it beyond the political lens and do a proper assessment of the situation and digest it properly and come to a conclusive agreement or finality of the case to suggest that the person is convicted or acquitted, then we are in a big problem. So sincerely, I am not surprised, and I saw it coming. So like we just asked whether I really saw it coming. Yes, I saw it coming, and I was expecting it, because we want to move the nation forward. We want to investigate issues of corruption. So if the Chief Justice that is there, well, it shouldn't be just out of assumption, but if there is a clear case of incompetency or misbehavior or any other thing, and they are depending on that to trigger her removal, that is not out of place. But if it is just for the mere fact of political coloration and inclination, therefore we feel that she was appointed by the previous government and we must also appoint our own Chief Justice, then a precedent we are setting, it is not absolutely good. But if on the basis of what the Constitution stipulates, that in the case of misbehavior, in the case of incompetence, for one, I don't know the definition of the incompetence that will be associated to the office of the Chief Justice. In all her delivery, what can be stated as an act of incompetence, or as an act of what? Misbehavior, or as an act of anything that will affect that clause to be triggered. Are you with me? Yeah. So obviously, I have not seen it, but maybe those who are doing the petitioning, they have a different lens from which they saw her services to the state. So if they are of the view, a confirmed view that she has to be replaced, then for me as a citizen, I only want to sit back and watch. because we want to build a country, and everybody is a citizen. Justice Tokono is a citizen of the Republic of Ghana. So if it is based on who appointed her, that one I would not call for her sacking or for her removal. Because, you see, it doesn't matter who appoints you, because if not so, the precedent we are setting for this country is not good. Obviously, Mahama is appointing people into key positions. Therefore, when he leaves, does that mean that in the next administration of NPP or Movement for Change or any other political party, automatically everybody should be removed by any means necessary? Is that the kind of precedent we want to set for this country? So I would not want to go on that path. But like I said, I will leave it for the legal eyes. The Constitution says that once the president receives the petition, it consults the Council of State. So we are now at the mercy of the Council of State. They have to come up with their finding and suggest that if there is any prima facie case that has been established sufficient enough for which reason the Chief Justice should be removed, then I will go for it. But then again, we also don't want to have a Chief Justice that will constrain the effort of this administration in punishing corruption. Because corruption is a cancer that has eaten deep into our society. That is why Ghana, we are always running in circles. We beat our chest, we beat our back, we praise ourselves, but we come back to the reality, realize that we are not moving forward really as far as other countries are concerned. Why should we have a country like Ghana that will be begging Burkina Faso for rice and sorghum and wheat and all those? It's quite demonic to have a country as big as Ghana that cannot feed herself, and you have to be depending on people. You see, all about leakages, so much wastage. So we need to find a way to curtail corruption. Much more serious punitive measure. That's why in the Asian countries, if you are caught for corruption, whoever you are, you'll be hanged. Because the punishment is so severe that many people just don't want to get corrupted. But here, you know that when you get corrupted, no matter what, plus or minus, it will be swept under the carpet for 2-3 years. We are still pursuing cases of corruption in the courts of Ghana, and we have not come to conclusion. Okay. So let us be fair in our mind and believe that Ghana needs to move forward. So if there has to be some resetting, restructuring, readjustment to make sure the right thing is done, for this government to be able to have a free way, operate, and prove to the whole country that we meant to fight and combat corruption, and we are doing it, and we are doing it right. I'm all for it.
Very well. Thank you very much. Let me go to Alhaji Mohammed Naziru. He's a senior communication member for the NDC. Alhaji, good morning. Thanks for joining us. And let me hear your take on that.
Good morning, and good morning to your cherished viewers. I want to believe that this country needs to move forward. It is high time we begin to, deal with issues as they are, and then the politicization of certain important issue leads to, in most cases, the dilution of the importance of the matter at hand. If you asked me, I would say that Article 146 of the Constitution has been tried and tested in this Fourth Republican dispensation. And there are many examples to set and arrive at a certain conclusion. If you take the fact that from Article 3 to 146, subsection 3 to 4, clearly stipulate how a justice of a superior court can be removed, or if you find something against that justice, how you should go about it. I want to believe in the case of the Anas, one of his investigation, which led to the president then directing the Chief Justice to empanel members to do an investigation. I think it led to the dismissal of some judges at the end of the day. The goat yam. I mean, so clearly there has been precedence and it has been tried and tested. Now, when you come to the substantive issue we are dealing with, which has to do from subsection 6 to 10, I mean, the close example we can give to it is that of the Electoral Commissioner, which is similar to this situation. I would say, unlike the Electoral Commissioner's Charlotte Osei issue, where there has been a lot of hullabaloo about the petitions. The names were given without faces. In this particular matter, you would realize that people who petitioned the president, went ahead to media to say that they have petitioned the president on certain issues regarding the Chief Justice. So clearly, it is in line with the Constitution, and the president has no, room for any dilly-dallying than to follow strictly what the Constitution says, to present the issue to the Council of State and subsequent actions. And exactly, I think that is what is happening now. For that matter, I would suggest that it is not just like the legal luminaries who continue to remind us in our legal jurisdiction, a person is not guilty until proven guilty. This is just an opportunity also for the Chief Justice to be able to explain herself on issues that have been raised against her. Now, we cannot all run away from the fact that until recently, the country was so worried, not less a person than the National Security Minister to the ex-Wall administration, raising concerns about the 909070 justice delivery that we witnessed under Madam Tukonu. And he raised concern that it is dwindling the hitherto progress that we've made in terms of our legal regime. We have seen a lot of cases. I can make mention of the Springfield issue where it was taken to our court, and just for us to be, smashed in the face when it was moved from our court to an international court, and the ruling they gave against it. In the case of Anas and Ken Kennedy Ajipon, we also how the court treated the issue with Anas. Went ahead to call Anas names. But when the case was moved from that court to an international court, another jurisdiction, the issue was different. So what is wrong with our court? Are we not supposed to be concerned? My issue has always been the fact that, look, you might take it to be whatever you want to take it to be. But for you and I, who have nobody to talk for us, for you and I, who may not have any, big political structure or coloration, so that your political party can even come back and make some noise about it. What is your faith? If we have set our legal system being manipulated in this manner, what is your faith?
So our legal system is broken. Is that what you think?
Well, there has been several issues. I've heard legal luminaries, raise questions as to certain rulings that our court has given. I can make mention of this man with a very tiny voice. Is a lawyer. I've forgotten his name. Martin Pebu raised several concerns about certain rulings. I've heard many lawyers also raise several concerns. So that is clearly to tell you that there's something is not right. If something is not right, what you need to do is to fix it. And attempting to fix it would require that we follow due procedure and then go to what the Constitution says and then act by it. And I think that is exactly what is being done. My joy is in the fact that it is a very wonderful opportunity, having taken up this issue, for the current Chief Justice, Justice Tukonu, in the sense that she will be given an opportunity to defend herself.
But do you see her being removed? Beyond every explanation she will give, do you see her being removed?
Well, it is the outcome of the investigation that determines whether she will be removed or not. I cannot be prejudicial in this matter, which is...
I'm asking because of the precedent that has been set already. We know what the process has been over the period with the precedent that was set. Eventually, the person was taken off the position. Is that what we are likely going to be seeing again?
That is if
beyond every other.
That is if the Justice Tukonu could not and cannot justify some of the accusations on her. She has no option than to bow to the law and do what the law says, and exactly that will happen. But that's, we are not there yet. Where we are now is where I continue to say my joy, that she will be given the opportunity to defend herself, and I hope she will be able to do that so that we move on.
Very well. Thank you very much, Alhaji. Let me move on to lawyer Kwesi Botchway. He's representing the NPP. And lawyer, I hope you're good this morning.
I'm very well. Good morning.
Great.
And apologies. It looks like I'm a bit late.
Yeah,
yesterday,
I'll deal with you later. When we are or you had doom so?
No, I didn't have doom so today.
Okay.
Today I didn't have doom so.
Then thanks be to God.
But because of the heavy downpour yesterday, I had to take my time in driving. So
that's no excuse.
That's no excuse. I was trying to take, safety.
That's no excuse.
Alhaji Nasiru.
That's no excuse.
Alhaji says it's not an excuse.
Now he's in government, so he lives around Rage, Cantonment, Labonian, so he's close by.
The residence has changed.
But those of us coming from Amasamu and Pokwa, so we have to take our time when we are coming to, this part of town early in the morning. And so, apologies to our cherished viewers.
Great. Let me have your take on this. It is believed that there's a certain precedent that has been set, and it's the same thing that we're seeing happening with the CJ. Do you feel that we could have gone, or we could have dealt with this situation a bit different from what we're saying?
Yes, and good morning to you. Good morning to our cherished viewers. Good morning to my senior colleagues. I think that right from the onset, it was clear from the demeanor and attitude of our brothers in government that once they win power, they were going to oust the Chief Justice. In fact, if you monitor...
This was way before 2020.
Way before 2024 elections. In fact, if you had monitored some of the utterances and commentaries of our, their pundits, it was very clear that they had a certain... They were not happy, let me put it that way, with the Chief Justice. In fact, you may recall that Sam George, during his vetting, was even questioned about certain tweets and comments he had made about the Venerable Madam Gertrude Tokono, of which he couldn't substantiate, but he couldn't also, withdraw those statements. And so it is clear that some of them were not happy with their conduct. But I feel that we live in a democratic dispensation. We live in a dispensation where rule of law works. We live in a dispensation where anybody who is aggrieved by any person occupying any public officer, including the president, has the right to, trigger certain provisions of the law. But triggering these positions of the law or provisions of the law must not be done with any malicious intent. It must be done in good faith. I recall that right after the 2024 election, Professor Kweku Azar petitioned the president to remove the Chief Justice. And the president, in a very detailed response, clearly stated that a prima facie case could not be established against the Chief Justice. And so the petition could not even be forwarded to the Council of State for the advice of the Council of State and also the subsequent setting up of the committee to look into the allegations of the Chief Justice. And so I do not know.
It was believed that was so because the president was the one who put him there. So there wouldn't be any...
Oh, no, I do not think so, because if you look at the response...
And even look at the issues that were brought.
No, but if you look at the response of the president, it was a very I think it was about a 6-pager, response. It was a very detailed response. And so if you read the response was very clear that Professor Kweku Azar couldn't substantiate the claims he made against the Chief Justice.
They had no merit.
And most of the claims were also hearsay. When I was coming, I was listening to you, read out the statement by the respected spokesperson to the president, Felix Kwesi. In fact, I do not know whether or not, maybe Alhaji Nasiru will help us, whether or not a prima facie case has been established by the president before forwarding the petition to the Council of State for their, advice or guidance. Because if you look at the case of Ejay Chum versus Attorney General, which was held somewhere in 2006, the Supreme Court was very clear that the Chief Justice, first and foremost, is a justice of the Superior Court, the Supreme Court. And so when the provision of Article 146 is triggered, the Chief Justice must first be considered. as a judge or as a justice of the Supreme Court before being a Chief Justice. And so it is very important to establish a prima facie case against the Chief Justice. Else, every now and then, people will be writing petitions for the removal of the Chief Justice, and these petitions will be forwarded to the Council of State, and subsequent committees will be set up every now and then to investigate or look into the actions of the Chief Justice. And if you do not get a Chief Justice who has a tough skin, it will destabilize, the Chief Justice, and, by virtue of that, may even destabilize our court. And so it is very important that a prima facie case is established against the Chief Justice before, a committee may be set up to look into these allegations. I do not know, because the statement clearly did not mention.
Yeah, none of those cases were actually
exactly. The statement clearly did not mention as to whether or not the president had established a prima facie case against the Chief Justice. And if the president did not establish a prima facie case against the Chief Justice, then I think that we are heading for an unconstitutional, we are heading on an unconstitutional path.
Ruling
exactly.
on the Chief Justice.
Yeah, exactly, because it has been established. In fact, in the case of Madame Charlotte Osei, the EC boss, in the case of, former persons of that position that have been removed. In fact, in all such circumstances, a prima facie case was established against these persons before subsequent decisions were taken. And so I think that the presidency should come out clearly. In fact, I cannot assume that the prima facie case has not been established by the president, and anybody can also not assume that the president has established the prima facie case against the Chief Justice, as is required by the case of J. Chum versus Attorney. In fact, J. Chum versus Attorney General is now part of our laws, because the Supreme Court, through their interpretative jurisdiction, sought to explain the provisions of Article 146 of our Constitution. And so it is incumbent upon anybody to respect the decision of J. Chum versus Attorney General. And so I would not say much about this matter. It is early days yet. I feel that the petitioners are acting within the confines of their democratic right. I feel that the president also has the power to receive such petitions. However, it is incumbent upon the president to establish a prima facie case before setting up any committee or forwarding the petition to any other person. And in fact, if you look at the provisions of Article 146, the Constitution requires that all such processes are held in camera. So you may recall that when Professor Kweku Azar petitioned then President Akufo-Addo to remove the Chief Justice, the president didn't publish anything until the official response from the presidency came out, because such matters are supposed to be held in camera, because we live in a jurisdiction where people tend to, prosecute or judge people in the media, even before the actual processes and constitutionally laid down procedures are followed. And so I really think that going through this process, we should all the stakeholders involved should exhibit good faith. And like Alhaji Nasiru clearly mentioned, the Chief Justice would have the opportunity to respond to any allegations that have been made against her person. In fact, she's even entitled to any counsel of her choice. But I am sure that the Chief Justice, who is well versed in the law, knows very well what to do, and
Nasiru believes that under the former administration, our legal system wasn't the best. For want of a better word, he believed that a lot of cases that happened indicated that we didn't have the kind of legal system that we could have.
I disagree because you see, it depends on the perspective you are looking at this from. That's why even when you go to court, there are two lawyers who are all espousing the provisions of the law. We have the lawyer for, if there is a plaintiff or the defendant, they are all espousing the provisions of the law. But at the end of the day, the judge has the right and the liberties and the responsibility to determine what the right provision or position of the law is. And so to say that our judiciary in the last 8 years, or our judiciary under President Akufo-Addo has not been the best, I disagree. In fact, when I was working him, I heard him reference that lawyers such as Martin Pebu have, In fact, in the last 8 years, we all know the position of Martin Pebu, the respected Martin Pebu. We all know his position when it comes to matters of governance and what have you. We all know where he stands, and so
what was the NDC?
we all know. I would not say he's NDC, but we all know where he stands.
There is either he's NDC or MPP.
Where
between the two, or you mean to say he's an MPP?
Oh, I do not mean to say he's an MPP, and I
So
do
where
not,
does he belong?
And
If he's not an NDC,
and I do not mean to say he's an NDC, but clearly from some of his utterances and some of his positions, he was tilting a bit against the opposition then, and he was a major critic of the government then. And I don't think that.
And he's doing the same thing today.
And I think that
he has raised several issues.
In fact,
he's doing the same thing today.
After his appointment as a member of the oral committee, I haven't heard him criticize the current administration. I haven't heard him. If he has, I haven't. I haven't heard anything of that sort. But you see, KMJ, I vehemently disagree that our judicial system has been compromised. I believe that our judicial system is one of the agencies or one of the best systems we have in West Africa and even in Africa. In fact, judges across the African continent come to Ghana to understudy our judicial system and how our judiciary works. If you look at the law reports, the judiciary have delivered very important judgments and rulings in recent times. And so I do not agree and I do not subscribe that the judiciary has been, have not been their best. And you see, KMJ, I'll use this opportunity to entreat all political actors that we can do our politics. It's very fine to do our politics, but let's take the judiciary out of our politics.
When the judiciary are proving to be more politicians than the political actors themselves, you cannot tell me we cannot discuss them.
What I'm saying is that the judiciary is an arm of government that is supposed to deliver and administer justice. We can do our politics. Even the law requires or the law permits us to criticize the judgments of the judiciary. But these criticisms must be grounded in law and must be grounded on facts. But bastardizing our judicial system and politicalizing and painting persons within the judiciary as politicians and calling the judiciary as being political, I think that is a threat to our democracy. And that is a threat to our judicial system. Because our judicial, even in times of a coup d'etat, it is the executive and the legislature that is being, that is broken down. But our judicial system still works even in times of coup d'etat. And so I think that let us all try and safeguard the reputation of our judicial system. Because if you go to court, if I go to court on a daily basis, if you go to court, you are not asked whether you belong to MPP or you belong to NDC. The aim of the judge is to administer justice. The aim of the judiciary is to provide justice to all manner of persons, irrespective of your race, your gender, your political affiliations, your religious affiliation, or whatsoever. And so I am only advocating that we do our politics. We can criticize the judiciary, but you see, our criticisms should be grounded in law. Our criticisms should not be sentimental. Our criticisms should not be based on sensationalism. Our criticism should not be tainted with, political lines and political colors. We shouldn't do that. Our criticism should be grounded and should be backed by the necessary facts. You can pick out a decision of the Supreme Court, point out what you think that is inconsistent with our laws, and criticize them. That is fair. But
okay. All right.
But KMJ,
to wrap up. We don't have much time.
To call out persons in the judiciary, and some even go to the extent of even threatening, insulting, calling them women organizers of a certain political party. That is totally unfair.
Okay.
It's totally unacceptable.
All right, very well. Thank you, lawyer. Let me move on.
Just a minute.
Right.
Just a minute. You see, if you read the Constitution clearly, it's not a mandate of the president to establish a prima facie case against the Chief Justice.
I mentioned that.
It is not the president's responsibility.
I said in the case of a J-Chum, I didn't say it was...
No, what we are saying that, what he's saying is that, what my brother is saying is that, he doesn't know whether the president has established a sufficient evidence to suggest that what the petitioners are proposing is right. Therefore, he is now referring the petition to the Council of State for them to establish the committee. What Nana Rada did was wrong. The moment you receive the petition, it is not your responsibility. You have to direct the petition to the Council of State.
Nana, you mean the ex-president?
No.
When you say Nana, you mean the ex-president?
The ex-president.
I support this position because
it is that is what the Constitution says.
First of all, I mean, 146 subsection 8 indicates clearly that all proceedings under this article shall be held in camera. So you and I might not be privy to whatever is being transpired, except the players in that particular issue. And then you come to subsection 7. It said a committee appointed under clause 6, so to investigate the matter of this article shall inquire into the petition and recommend to the president whether the Chief Justice are to be removed. No, subsection 6. It says where the petition is for the removal of Chief Justice, the president shall, acting in consultation with the Council of State, appoint a committee.
Yes.
Do you understand? Consisting of 2 justices of the Supreme Court, one of whom shall be appointed chairman by the president, and 3 other persons who are not members of the Council of State, nor members of Parliament, nor lawyers. So clearly, you could tell that by what the Constitution stipulates, the President of the Republic, John Dramani Mahama, is following, religiously, unlike the position of my brother who is a lawyer. He is supposed to know better that establishing the prima facie case in this matter would largely depend on the constitution of the committee and what do you call it, the Council of State. And that's exactly what the President has done.
That would trigger
we would have to move on to our next topic.
For clarity, if you look at, when I was speaking, I laid a foundation. But for clarity, if you look at Article 146, Clause 3, and with your permission, I'll read briefly. It says that if the President receives a petition for the removal of justice of a superior court, other than the Chief Justice, or for the removal of the chairman of a regional tribunal, he shall refer the petition to the Chief Justice, who shall determine whether there is a prima facie.
Exactly. So that's not a responsibility of the President.
I made the case that...
But she is not a superior court. She is the Chief Justice. And the article you just read clearly...
That is why I referenced the case of Ajay Chum versus Attorney General. If you look at the ruling of Ajay Chum versus Attorney General, the basis for which that case was dismissed by the Supreme Court is that the President then failed to establish a prima facie case, because I have already told you that the Chief Justice is a justice of the Superior Court before a Chief Justice. You understand? And so it is incumbent upon the President to establish whether or not there is
the procedures are not the same
basis
in those cases.
No, that is the position of the lawyer.
So you mean that that applies to you?
All of us here may disagree with the position of the court in the Ajay Chum versus Attorney, but that is the position of the Lord. You can't do anything about it.
Okay.
And that is why I referenced the case of Ajay Chum versus Attorney General that the Supreme Court has suggested and has stated clearly that if the President receives a petition for the removal of the Chief Justice, it's incumbent upon the President to determine whether there's a prima facie case. You see, my brother Alhaji Nasiru mentioned that both of us were not there, and so exactly. And that is why when I was speaking, KMJ, you recall that I referenced the letter Honorable Feliso Fosu-Kwakye put out, that the letter was silent on whether the prima facie case has been established or not. That is why I said that I cannot assume that it has been established or it has not been established. But what I'm saying is that that is what is required to be done. And so if it has not been done, then it means we are heading on a path of
all right. Just we don't have much time today, so let's move on.
The Constitution doesn't. That is why Ajay Chum versus General has.
I'd like us to take a quick comment on the light situation that we have right now. So let me start off with Naziru. Remember, Suma, you have commented on the Kotoka Airport already.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So let me have your take on that, Naziru. Yesterday, the rains came, and then the airport, we had doom so over there for a while. Why are we suffering this as a nation? Your government is in power now.
Well, I've been reliably informed that one of the what do you call it?
Transformers?
No, not transformers. The companies on the oil field have pulled out their production of gas to what do you call it? To our generation power.
The thermal plants.
The thermal plants. And I think the Minister of Energy himself was saying that this would further aggravate the situation that we are facing already. The fact that we are seeing light out at one point or the other is not new to us. I mean, this has been persistent until we took over power. I think, if I remember very well, the Minister of Energy getting to the tail end of the debate on the budget, I mean, raised and gave us vivid examples of where power outages, some up to 700 megawatts, were taken off because we cannot generate our capacity. For now, the situation, according to the Energy Minister, is under control. All we need to do is to ensure that we put in place the necessary mechanism and generate the enough money to ensure we continue to power our generators. He made mention of the fact that Kumasi issue, which was very dire, has been, solved as he speaks as of yesterday. And so all the other places we are facing.
But for international airport like Kotoka to experience this, there's no standby generator that we can have. How many years have we had Kotoka International Airport be in existence now?
But that is how low the corruption that we witnessed, unprecedented under the previous administration, has taken this country. And that was what our complaint. Not only Kotoka. You go to the Flagstaff House today, and I was so shocked the last time I was passing by last week to see the greens, the grass being watered. I have not seen that for so many years. I was even thinking all the system.
The one in front of
the Flagstaff House. I mean, you could see how the weeds have grown and nothing is being done about it. But
I've also used that place and I've not seen the grass over there go that bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I mean, it was...
you're talking about the one inside?
Outside, just by the, what do you call it? By the road.
The roadside?
Yeah, the roadside. You could see now they are being watered.
And it's because NDC is in power?
It's because somebody is concerned and the corruption levels has gone down. We have issues with our hospitals. I mean, looking for incubators, looking for dialysis machines, whatever, everything going down. I mean, it was so
responsible for what we've seen at Kotoka International Airport as well?
If Kotoka International Airport was supposed to raise money, and one of the ways they could raise money is when, during the COVID, they had an opportunity to raise money from the charges they will make, and the charges will end up in private hands and will not go to Kotoka International Airport. How do you expect them to have enough money to even have a standby generator that is continuing to run? I mean, those are the questions we need to ask ourselves. And if you speak, they want to make it as if you want to drag it into politics. But those are the realities. Those are the realities. This country sank so low to the extent that you wonder what the government then was thinking and what their plans were to ensure that this country moved forward. I have continued to say that this country has moved backward down 30 years. Because some of the things we used to see in the 80s, where people will resort to gari and water, where people will resort to... I remember there was this plant we call Bokoboko, where people were in the 80s. Yeah. I mean, those are the things that we resorted to in this day and age, where Ghana is producing oil, where we have unprecedented production of gold and stuff like that. These are money-making commodities, and why should we reduce the country to this level? And it's as a result of the unprecedented corruption that we witnessed under the 8 years of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
What are you doing for this not to happen again? Your government is in power now. You've just been...
I mean, the government has stated clearly. I mean, you could see the initiative of the energy minister. One of them is to ensure that, well, I don't think if we will discuss it, the issue with ECG and the loss of about 1,500.
It's part of our conversation,
yes,
but we need to finish.
Those are the things. If we are able to recoup all those money, the country will continue to run. I mean, we'll put the country back on system, and things will be resolved very soon.
Okay.
No,
you can tie in the ECG issue as well.
Yeah, just a quick one. Just a quick one. You see, I do agree with my brother that there may be issues of power generation, supply, gas shortage, and all those things. But you see, in every civilized jurisdiction, we need to be very proactive and understand what are our key areas that may dent the integrity of the country. Therefore, from the very inception of the construction of the Terminal 3, there should be adequate standby plants that can power the entire Kotoka. Should they be... Look, we have situations where an entire country can go off. It happens in other jurisdictions. The entire country goes off. But at least your airport, hospitals should be running.
Essential places.
Essential places should be running. So all I'm trying to say is that we should be more proactive. We should be visionary. We should look beyond today and be able to think into the future. But that is always our problem. We find it difficult to think ahead. So we wait until something happens before we start looking for who to blame and who not to blame. So I'm only appealing to the NDC government that ASAP, they should zero in on how they can provide an alternative power supply for Kotoka International Airport and our major hospitals. So that in the cases of Dumso, you don't find doctors using torchlight to be conducting operations. You see, it doesn't make sense in the 21st century after 68 years of independence that we keep beating our chest and saying we are the gateway to Africa, gateway to Africa, gateway to Africa. We are here, we still can't even feed ourselves. So what is the essence of this gateway to Africa slogan that we have been always parading ourselves with? We may wake up one day and the gate to Africa itself will be closed. So now my issue is that what happens why a container that is meant for a state agency as Electricity Company of Ghana, they say there were about 2,400 and something containers that were declared. Now upon an audit, it has been revealed that about 1,300 plus is missing. Is it not a systemic corruption? It's a systemic corruption because, you see, why should even those containers be stacked at the port in the first place? Why should they be stacked in the first place? So, you see, we need to have priority, scale of preference to understand that because the energy sector of this country is a key sector to industries, everybody that will operate needs power to operate. If you want to industrialize, how do you industrialize when you don't have enough power to power your industries? Well, how do you do that? So, if this quantum of containers can get missing, then that means that we have been killing the nation slowly. Both politicians and public servants, they have been killing this country slowly. And at the end of the day, they turn around and blame the politician. So if you want to delve deeper into this thing, I wouldn't be surprised that operators within the ECG who may not be politicians may have something to do with these missing containers. So all we are saying is that once containers are coming, you know they are for Electricity Company of Ghana. These goods are coming, they are for the Ghana Water Company. These goods are coming, they are essential services that the country needs to run on. Why should they even be kept at the port for even more than 30 days? Now they are saying that there used to be a fund that when revenues are coming, they put some of these funds into using for the clearing of those containers. At some point, they stop putting those funds in there because there's no money. There is no money. So how do you tell me that there's no money to clear cables, to clear transformers, to clear this? Look, KMG, sometimes I pity the kind of country we are living or going to bequeath to the next generation. The people who are like 10, 15 years coming, what kind of country are we bequeathing to them? What kind of country? Because don't forget, now they are saying that they even merge the procurement department of ECG to the real estate department. How do you do that? How do you do that? That means that there is no proper scale of preference. There is no scale of priority list. If there is a priority list, the procurement department of ECG should be a standalone department. You shouldn't merge it with any other department. I hear the minister is saying they will decouple it and let them become a standalone department to look at clearing things quickly, because the systemic corruption in Ghana is killing us, and we need to do something about it. If not so, one day this country will just trigger a fire like that, and to quench it will be difficult. That's all I can say.
Okay, very well. Now, it is believed that about 1,350 of them, now each of them is valued at about $500,000 US. If you put all of them together, we're looking at amount of money that is missing actually is $675 million US. Now,
and yesterday, the liability, we're talking about $1.5 billion. 1.5 billion in terms of the total liability.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's what we're looking at right now. But yesterday, the minister had a conversation on Asempa. Let's take a quick listen to it, and then we'll come back and continue. I'll take the thoughts of lawyer as well.
Yes, the state committee say you clear containers, no, because about 2,500 containers there. A dozen. Now demo regional so. Extra na echo. Revelations no HSS no more 2,495. Sometimes 2,500 containers. And demurrage of 1.5 billion are echoes from the doors. Now and a committee in the day or more and more no every day. It's shocking, honestly. Very, very shocking. About 1,350 containers. Ira.
Hey. Containers.
Containers, full containers. Over 1,350.
A good port, Hono. Now there's a port security or Honor.
That is the point. ECG records shows the containers no our ports. Umkoya stock taking at the port over 1,300 anyhow. Containers, the only thing you move. You can't do the show bottle now, the baby. So, how those containers go missing and cannot be accounted for now? It's a very serious matter. And we'll get to the bottom of this matter.
Yeah, because I'm wondering, sir, when the new government took over, of course, at the time, no, inventory, who containers are go meboa.
Okay, so that was on Asempa yesterday. Now, speaking on News Night yesterday as well, the Honorable former Deputy Minister for Energy, also spoke about the same issue. Honorable Collins Aduma-Mensah. He's also the ranking member for Energy Committee in Parliament. He also spoke about it, and he says that, and lawyer, he's an NPP, and he says that he's ready to assist in any investigations that will make sure that these containers are recovered from wherever they are.
Yeah. So I think that first and foremost, I support any call for investigations into this matter. But you see, I have a problem. And my problem is that sometime on the 24th of January 2025, and in fact, this is my joyonline.com, your affiliate, and then you read, the caption is, Energy Minister inspects uncleared ECG containers at Tema Harbour. And it was published at 12:06 a.m., 24 January 2025. I'm just reading the first paragraphs with your indulgence. The Energy Minister, John Abdullah Janapo, has conducted an inspection tour of the Tema Harbour to assess the status of approximately 2,500 containers procured by the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, that remain uncleared at the port. And in fact, there is a picture here of the respected Energy Minister at the port inspecting these 2,500 containers. And so, KMJ, I have two questions here. One, in fact, after this visit, the Energy Minister went to Parliament to inform Parliament that, indeed, there are some 2,500 containers at the port belonging to ECG that have not been cleared. And so he went to brief Parliament on the progress of this whole matter. Now, 2 months down the line, the Energy Minister comes to tell us that per a report by the ECG or whatsoever, it has been discovered that about 1,350 containers have gone missing, have vanished into thin air. Now, my first question to the Energy Minister is that on his visit to the port on the 24th January 2025, did he do a thorough work? Did he do a competent work enough to establish on that visit that the containers there were 2,500 indeed? Or on that day, he just went to see the containers and then went back to his office to enjoy his air condition? Because if he did, then I think that by now the energy minister should even resign or should be suspended for investigations to take place. Because KMJ, we live in a country where a sector minister, you come to tell the whole country that you've gone to inspect 2,500 containers. In fact, if you do not know or you do not have any credible information about the containers, you do not come out in the first place to tell us that the containers were 2,500. But you come to tell the whole country that you have gone to inspect containers at the port, counting to about 2,500. And then 2 months down the line, you, the same person, come to tell us that about 1,350 containers have gone missing. KMJ, this is ridiculous. This is extremely unacceptable. And in fact, I even wish that it's not the energy ministry that conducts investigation into this matter. The national security should be concerned about this issue. The police service should be concerned about this issue.
Do you think that the minister did a bad job?
Of course.
Assessment of
on the basis of the information we have. Because on the 24th of January, you come to tell us that there were 2,500 containers at the port.
The report.
Per your visit. No, per his visit. I'm not talking about the report here. Let's not twist the fact. The minister visited. In fact, there are videos of the minister reporting to Parliament that he had visited the port and is aware of some 2,500 containers at the port belonging to ECG that have not been cleared. And so he was informing Parliament about the situation. The answers of Parliament clearly captured what the minister has said. What the minister said. 2 months down the line, this same minister is informing us that 1,350 containers have vanished.
It's not possible.
Have gone missing.
If I've gone to make assessment of a certain container, and I know this is also amount of it, and I go back again and I realize that the number that I counted is not the same number that is there.
The briefing he got was that this is the quantum. That's why he established the committee to look into it.
No, I'm not.
So it's not possible.
I'm not talking about the briefing he got. What I'm saying is that the minister visited the site.
Correct.
Upon the visit, the minister disclosed that the containers were up to KMG. Let me break it down for. Let me break it down. KMG, you are the minister.
Would you expect
You've gone to the port. Wait. Okay, you've gone to the port. You've been told that there are 10 cars belonging to multimedia. You come and sit on Joy Prime to say that I've been to the port. There are 10 cars belonging.
That's the briefing he got. That's the briefing I was
talking about. You visited the site.
Yes, but visiting the site and visiting the site and getting the briefing, they are two different things. So if I visit a site and people come and give me a briefing of what is there,
the site that gave him that information. Which shows
containers are not stones. If you go to the port and you see containers counting 2,500, or you see containers at the port, and you have been told that minister, these are the containers belonging to ECG, and you have been told that these containers are 2,500, and let's just say 1,300 of these containers were not part of the 2,500. So won't you see that these containers are not up to 2,500? Anybody will
should have counted them.
No, I'm not saying that he should have counted, but anybody will say.
How can he just look at them and say that?
Of course.
He said it's 2,000.
1,350 is not a small number. The minister would have known. And so if you are saying, or if we are saying that the containers got missing within the last 2 months, then a cause for a thorough investigation that even the minister himself must recuse himself to allow for a free and fair investigation of this matter. Because we cannot allow taxpayers' money of about, he said, amounts to how much? About $600 or something billion just to vanish into thin air. This cannot be acceptable. It is too early for such scandals to happen under Alhaji Nasir's government. It is too early, too early. 3 months in office, and the state is already losing
the scandal and say it's happening.
3 months already. Exactly. This is this on the screen?
Yeah, this is when he went there too.
So the minister.
So in your opinion, he did a bad job.
He did a shoddy job.
Okay.
He did a shoddy job. If the minister failed to assess the critical situation on the grounds upon his visit, then I think that the minister
it was
did a very
about
shoddy job.
After his visit, that he set up the committee, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
to do the same thing you are asking him to do.
Even
the committee gave him the exact of what is transpiring. And it's acting on it.
Even the essence of the committee was to look into how the ECG can clear these containers. Okay? And then the committee comes to tell the minister that, Mr. Minister, when you went there, the things you saw were not 2,500, but were short of 1,350. And I'm saying that, so if the minister had gone there, the minister could have seen or could have realized that these containers cannot be 2,500. KMJ, they cannot be 2,500. And so the minister himself, should recuse himself for investigations to take place. A very transparent.
Okay.
There's 2,500 containers of ECG at one specific location.
Please, let me get some messages. Let's engage our viewers. But a big thank you to Franco Trading Enterprise this morning. Here on Newsflash and Franco Trading Enterprise. Kindness courtesy will bring you Newsflash this morning here on Prime. And I'm going to be engaging some of the messages that have been sent to us by viewers as well. And then we'll come back, we'll do a quick 1 minute wrap up, and then we'll be done for today. This one, okay, let me go to this. Okay, let me go back a bit. Oh boy. Okay, I think we're having difficulties with the messages, so let me just get back when we're able to retrieve them. We'll read the messages that we have this morning. Now, that's real.
It's quite unfortunate. This is a very important matter. I mean, it shows the level of corruption. It shows the level of laxity that has seen this country, I mean, continue to go low below. And for my friend to just decide to, reduce this whole important issue to petty politics and begin to conjure issues and suggest that people should rather focus on that rather than the fact that these containers, having been imported into this country under the administration, has been left at the port to rot when the ECG would require them to continue giving us the power that we require. We are today talking about Dumso. Dumso is as a result of, variety, I mean, several issues that needs to be fixed together, our power continue to run. And these are some of the things that will require, it is not there. And people will begin to blame this government that why didn't I have power? When indeed, it is the taxpayers' money that was used to purchase all these items. It was supposed to be cleared. It wasn't cleared. For what reasons, we don't know. And we sit here to begin to blame that, well, if you went there, you see 1,500 and you say it's 2,500, that should be the issue. Are we serious? I mean, let's get serious. This is a serious matter for me to, by now, the national security or investigative bodies should quickly jump in and let's begin to zero on how things, got to this level. I mean, that is what we should be hearing this morning. I agree. I mean, the Minister of Energy would have no problem. I mean, he instituted the investigation to unravel the situation. So if you want him to stay out and you have an investigative body to continue, let us do it. But anybody who is found culpable, and the security, our apparatus goes to pick that person, you shouldn't come here and be blaming us for witch hunting and doing things unlawful. Because these are people who did not care about this country, who did not care about the laws of this country, and have acted whimsically and capriciously to satisfy their own parochial interests. And for that matter, they must be treated as such.
That is my position.
Okay. All right. This one is from Honorable Akisime Sechubekwa. It says, "Good morning, KMJ. I strongly support the petition to remove the Chief Justice with the 3 petitions already received. It's clear that there are serious concerns about the Chief Justice's conduct and ability to perform her duties. Now, as outlined in Article 146 of the 1992 Constitution, the removal of the Chief Justice requires a thorough investigation and due process. I urge President John Mahama to carefully consider the petitions and consult with the Council of State to determine the best course of action. It's essential that our judiciary maintains the highest standards of integrity, accountability, and transparency. If the investigations find the Chief Justice guilty of misconduct or incompetence, then removal from office is the necessary step to uphold the integrity of our judicial system." All right, Nasiri, let me take your quick comment on that, and then we'll wrap up. Okay.
I think Alhaji Nasiri just spoke. So, KMJ.
No. Sorry, no, I meant Suma, are you done?
No, just a quick one on the issue of these ECG containers and these things. You see, respectfully to submit, we are talking about containers that came to the shores of Ghana prior to the 2024 election. How come these containers got stuck at Tema Port? If we use these containers as an essential service supplier, which is ECG, the containers are meant for them, isn't it? Why should it even get stuck at the port and demurrage is even affecting them? All I'm saying is that Tema Harbour is a small enclave that you cannot pack 2,500 containers of ECG alone at one specific jurisdiction or enclave. So obviously it will be difficult for even me, Richard, if I'm the Minister of Energy and I'm doing an inspection and I go to Tema Port and they say ECG containers are here, they amount to 2,500. It will be difficult for me to just use my eye to determine that if you say 2,500, I assume that it is less. So that's why he did what he did by then now constituting a committee to look into why was it even stuck there in the first place. How do we get them out? Then the revelation came that some have even been what? Gone. They are mixing. We can't find them. So now you see, Ghana is a country where we were in this country, KMG, when they said some containers have been found with gold and dollar and all this. You remember?
Yeah.
And they say there's an allergy behind it. Up to now, have you been told who the allergy is?
No.
Have you heard anything about that investigation again? This is who we are. We talk, we praise ourselves, but we do little.
Okay.
So we just expect that some of these things going forward shouldn't be happening. Container meant for Ghana Water should be cleared. Container meant for Kotoka, for Kolebu, ECG, Konfanoche Hospital. All these things we prioritize because are we not owning the shipping industry in Ghana? We are not having any control. There are some goods that even if they land at Tema Port, within a matter of day or two, they should be gone. Because we know they are for essential service providers. But we wait and wait and wait. We are waiting for money to pay the same government before you clear the goods.
And the good containers are missing.
End up missing, and the containers are for government agency like ECG. Oh, come on, we are not serious.
Okay. I'll come. Let me do this one. It says, Master Planner Jr. from Kintampo. It says, on the 7th of January 2025, just some few minutes after President Mahama was sworn in, the Honorable John Jnr told us that President Nana left us with only 5 hours fuel generation, and so the whole country power was shut down after 5 hours. On the contrary, the light was on for more than 5 hours. So in this next interview the next day, he quickly changed the 5 hours to 3 days. It took us more than 14 days, but the lights were still on. It was clear that his claims were unfounded and skewed just to prepare the minds of Ghanaians ahead of their doomsday. Today, another story is in. Containers have started flying from the port. The question is how many containers were shipped in, and is it not amazing? The minister will visit the port and will not be able to get the total number of containers before leaving. Then what was the essence of the inspections? Where is the oral committee? Where is the Attorney General? No Bijujubi, that's Master Planner Junior and Kintampo sent in that. Do 1 minute for me and let's go. Our time is up.
KMJ, you see, let's not try to justify the alleged stealing of these containers by saying that the containers ought to have been cleared. Yes, I agree that they ought to have been cleared, but that cannot be the basis for anybody to allegedly steal, these containers belonging to the state. KMJ, doomsday is a worrying situation. Currently, part of this country are experiencing doomsday. And that is not even up for a debate. Yesterday, we saw what happened at Kotoka. And it wasn't just Kotoka. It also happened at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Yesterday, part of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital for about 2 hours did not have, electricity, including departments, including the maternity, ward, the entire maternity department was down without electricity. And so I think that this is a very worrying situation. The government should be interested in solving the challenges of doomsday. The government should stop the lamentations and solve the problems of doomsday. Alhaji Nasiru mentioned that this nation have been sent back for 8 years. And
30 years.
And so that is, you see, when persons in government, have the opportunity to speak to the nation, they should seek to address the concerns of the nation. The lamentations will not help us.
Okay.
This is why you are in government. Bring us solutions. You promised us that cost of living was going to go down. You promised us that you were going to reduce inflation. You promised us that you were going to do so many things. And you see, the things you promised us, the Ghanaian people are expecting you to deliver on your promises. The politics of promise, win and shift, I have always maintained that must end. The commitment you made in your manifesto, please start delivering those commitments. And the cause that, it's early days yet.
They have a 4 years mandate.
They have a 4 years mandate and whatsoever. All those causes are unwarranted and unjustified. In fact, the president promised us that in the first 120 days of his administration, he was going to cause magic. We are more than 60 days into his administration. We are expecting some of the things he promised us, that the cost of living was going to be reduced. Today, if you look at their budget,
120-day promise
today, if you look at the budget of the NDC, after every 3 months, tariffs are going to be adjusted, and the possibility that they are going to be increased is high. You see, Galamsey is on the rise. We need leadership in this country to stop the menace of Galamsey, to stop the doomsday challenge, to reduce cost of living. We need leadership in this country. These are the very things.
So that's exactly what leadership. And I'm happy today you are telling us that there is no Galamsey.
And so that'll be all.
You said there is no Galamsey. Today you are telling us your insincerity will not even make Ghanaians take us serious. But for us in English, I said what is serious and important for us is that in 100
that's what time. Let me. So there's a final message that I have over here. The microphone's out. There's a message here. This one says, and it's coming from Mensa Majid. It's from Bechem, Toronto. And it says, my regards to Honorable Ishaq Daud, popularly known as Oluman in Sutifi South constituency. A group has petitioned the president to remove the CJ. It's a good call, and I support it. The current CJ has shown her political callous, and she doesn't deserve to be maintained as CJ. Reset in Ghana is a reality and not an empty slogan. Gentlemen, lawyer Kwesi Botchway Jnr. is National Communications Member for the NPP. Alhaji Mohammed Nasiru joined us this morning, also Senior Communications Member, team member for the NDC, and of course, my brother Richard Suma also joined us this morning as well, leading member for the Movement for Change. Gentlemen, and thank you to you for
we follow issues.